Psalm 10. David speaks of diverse acts of the wicked. God is not in their thoughts, but the Lord is king forever and ever. He will judge the fatherless and the oppressed. Why standest thou afar off, O Lord? Why hidest thou thyself in times of trouble? The wicked in his pride doth persecute the poor. Let them be taken in the devices that they have imagined. For the wicked boasted of his heart's desire, and blessed the covetous, whom the Lord abhorreth. The wicked, through the pride of his countenance, will not seek after God. God is not in all his thoughts. His ways are always grievous. Thy judgments are far above out of his sight. As for all his enemies, he puffeth at them. He hath said in his heart, I shall not be moved, for I shall never be in adversity. His mouth is full of cursing and deceit and fraud. Under his tongue is mischief and vanity. He sitteth in the lurking places of the villages. In the secret places doth he murder the innocent. His eyes are privily set against the poor. He lieth in wait secretly as a lion in his den. He lieth in wait to catch the poor. He doth catch the poor when he draweth him into his net. He croucheth and humbleth himself, that the poor may fall by his strong ones. He hath said in his heart, God hath forgotten. He hideth his face, he will never see it. Arise, O Lord, O God, lift up thine hand, forget not the humble. Wherefore doth the wicked contemn God? He hath said in his heart, Thou wilt not require it. Thou hast seen it, for thou beholdest mischief and spite to require it with thy hand. The poor committeth himself unto thee. Thou art the helper of the fatherless. Break thou the arm of the wicked, and the evil man. Seek out his wickedness till thou find none. The Lord is king forever and ever. The heathen are perished out of his land. Lord, thou hast heard the desire of the humble. Thou wilt prepare their heart. Thou wilt cause thine ear to hear, to judge the fatherless and the oppressed, that the man of the earth may no more oppress. Now this is an interesting one. This is an interesting. Reciting all the wickedness of people and all the ways that they can be evil, the murders and the lies and the traps and stuff, and then calling on God. Why does God not intervene sooner? Why does God let these evil men act in their evil ways? It is a good question, not fully answered, but it does tell us that God does uphold, he does help the fathers. He may not save them in the immediate moment, but he gives them the comfort and the blessings they need. And eventually, they will win out. So it's an interesting poem. It asks that's kind of the same question that the book of Job asks, is why does God let bad things happen to good people? Doesn't really answer it exactly, but it does give us the assurance that in the end, God will make it all right. Now, this psalm also has a number of Joseph Smith translations, so let us go through this. Now, what the Joseph Smith translation is, this is an inspired translation or correction of the Bible done by Joseph Smith to correct or restore those portions that had been lost over the years. Now, this psalm has 7 verses that have alterations to them, some corrections made, so let us see what these are. Verse 6, rendered in the King James Version, states, He hath said in his heart, I shall not be moved, for I shall never be in adversity. And then Joseph Smith corrects this. For he saith in his heart, I shall not be moved, never in adversity. Now that's interesting. Not that I will never be in adversity, but I will not be moved in adversity. That's an interesting change. Verse 7 in the King James renders, His mouth is full of cursing and deceit and fraud. Under his tongue is mischief and vanity. Joseph Smith correction. His mouth is full of cursing and deceit, and his heart is full of fraud. And under his tongue, mischief and vanity. Now that is a more clear description. The first one makes sense. But I like that his heart is full of fraud. It's not that his mouth is full of fraud. We already said cursings and deceit. We don't need deceit and fraud. They mean basically the same thing. So it's kind of a repetition. But this changes it. His mouth is cursing and deceit, and his heart is fraud. I like that. Verse 10 in the King James, he croucheth and humbleth himself, that the poor may fall by his strong ones. Now that didn't make a lot of sense. Why would he humble himself? But Joseph Smith corrects this. He croucheth to the strong ones and humbleth himself, that the poor may fall by his devices. So what he's saying is he sucks the deceitful one, the evil, the wicked. They cater to those in power. They kind of bow down to the rulers, the strong ones, and because of this, they are able to ensnare the poor because they have the protection of the powerful. I like that change too. Verse 13, King James renders, wherefore doth the wicked contemn God? He hath said in his heart, thou wilt not require it. So this says, why do they condemn God? And he's saying the wicked don't think that they will be punished. Joseph Smith translation, the wicked contemn God. Wherefore he doth say in his heart, thou wilt not require iniquity at my hand. So, not asking a question here. Well, it still has the question mark. The wicked contemn God. Wherefore he doth say in his heart, thou wilt not require iniquity at my hand. In other words, they don't believe in God, so they don't believe they will be punished. Verse 14, thou hast seen it, for thou beholdest mischief and spite, to require it with thine hand. The poor committeth himself unto thee, thou art the helper of the fatherless. Now that's the King James. It changes this, O Lord, thou hast seen all this, for thou beholdest mischief and spite, to require with thy hand. Not require, to requite with thine hand. The poor committeth himself to thee, thou art the helper of the fatherless. So just reaffirming that God sees everything. Verse 15, King James. Break thou the arm of the wicked and the evil man, seek out his wickedness till thou find none. Now that was a little odd to me too. So this is the Joseph Smith translation. O Lord, thou wilt break the arm of the wicked and of the evil, and seek out his wickedness until thou find none that remain. So he's going to destroy all the wicked. I mean, that's kind of what I thought the King James was getting at, but it was a little bit awkward wording. And finally, verse 16, the Lord is king forever and ever. The heathen are perished out of his land. That's the King James. Joseph Smith renders it. And the Lord shall be king forever and ever over his people, for the wicked shall perish out of his land. Anyways, very interesting alterations there in the Joseph Smith translation, quite a number of them, and we're going to leave it there.